Hello and welcome to Not Another Football Podcast. I'm Luke and this is Ollie, and we're here to discuss the Premier League each week. And I must admit, I'm in pretty good mood this weekend after the games, Ollie, because obviously Liverpool jumping right in there. Liverpool top of the league, 5 points clear after a great weekend of results for us, and looking like, my percentage of our chances of winning has now gone up. Now at a mighty 7%, I give us. That's a chance to win it. Would you agree with that percentage?
It's particularly low, and it's particularly annoying seeing your smug face every weekend. It seems to be, everything falling in your favour, and I would say your likelihood chances of winning it are slightly higher than 7%. I think you're going yourself down a little bit there.
I'm just, I'm waiting. We might go through a blip. We haven't played good teams yet. That's what everyone keeps telling us, even though that's clearly not true now at this point. We've literally played pretty much everyone who would be considered a top team other than City and Spurs now.
Mm.
Everyone else we've
Well,
played. So
yeah, well, the top team seems to be pretty tight in terms of the makeup of the table now. What, just a point in between third and ninth?
yeah, something like that. And then it's four. Is it 4 points down to 13th? I think from fourth, but
Yeah,
or
yeah,
possibly
pretty
third
wide.
actually, because you're third, aren't you? But yeah, no. Were you able to watch the Liverpool Villa game?
I was indeed, yeah, I did. Well, I did indeed. Yes, yeah, you must be pretty buoyant right now.
Yeah, man. I mean, I must admit, it was one of those games where I actually thought we played quite well, but also rode our luck at times. Villa sat in a lot more than I expected. I thought they would be more on the front foot, bit more higher with their press, not as sitting back and waiting to counter all the time. Even when they went 1-0 down, they were playing that way. But it actually nearly paid off for them. I mean, obviously, Kelleher produced a couple of good saves. They had a really good chance right in the start of the second half. I can't remember if it was Jacob Ramsey, maybe, or Rogers. Ran
Mm.
through and goal and just missed the target completely. But so another day, everyone would be probably praising them, saying like perfect game plan, managed to get out there with a point. But I think we still played quite well, and obviously we can still improve, which is always
Mm.
good. Managed to get the win, and obviously Salah again doing things that Salah does, being a impact player. Fantastic goal, obviously, like composure. Konza made it easy for him, deciding to just run away. I know he was trying to like essentially anticipate a pass coming across and trying to block that, but I mean the danger man is the guy with the ball, so probably not best to make up his mind for him. And then obviously when you look into the first goal, technically in fantasy anyway, luckily for me, has gone down as an assist to Salah. By the way, did you see that David Coote wasn't gonna give that as a foul?
No, I didn't see that. No.
Yeah, there's a camera view from behind the play, and obviously when he gets fouled and the ball then goes through to him, but you see him going like this, and like no, no, it's like mate, what are you on about? It's the most blatant foul ever. I knew he'd have been the last man sent off, but then we scored, so obviously I'd take the
Yeah.
goal rather than the 10 men and stuff like that. But Nunes pretty clinical in that moment. Shame that didn't last throughout the game.
Yeah, I was going to say pretty clinical in that moment. It didn't last for the next three chances that he scuppered.
I know he should have definitely come out of the game with a hat trick, but
Yeah.
he I think that's just him now. For the last few years, I've been talking about Nunes, and I've been saying, I feel like, I mean, there is raw potential there, but I thought over the years his composure would improve and he'd be a lot more clinical and take more chances. But I think this is just him. 1 month will go by where he'll probably take every chance he gets and he'll bang them in,
Mm.
and then the next month he'll do what he did against Villa and miss chances that he should be scoring. So unfortunately, I think that's just what you get. But you do get a lot of off the ball stuff from Nunes. He works
Yeah.
really hard. He runs the channels. He's a good outlet for us. His link up plays pretty decent. It can be improved, but I don't think it's the end of the world. It's not that bad. So he essentially the running he does off the ball always helps because obviously it creates space for the likes of Salah, Diaz, Gakpo if he's playing and stuff like that. And obviously, well, they don't really play Jota and Nunes together because it's one or the other. Maybe Chiesa when he comes back. So yeah, I think obviously things are looking good, man. 5 points clear. Can't believe I'm saying that after 11 games, but
Yeah, pretty wild start for Slot, and we keep saying that each week. But with Nunes, I was watching that game and just thinking about the other game. I think it was Brighton who were later on. Like, would you have rather had Pedro than Nunes? Because I know you were linked with him a long time ago, a
yeah,
similar time that you signed Nunes, and I was just thinking, God, I bet you wish you'd gone for him.
I don't know. I think he's a
Not
decent
convinced.
player. Yeah, no, I do think he's a decent player, but obviously it's just a big step up, isn't it? Watford, Brighton, obviously that is a step up, but still there's more levels to go to get to Liverpool and be the starting nine. I think I think what I've seen from Nunes though, he just probably edges it still. I mean, I think that having Nunes is better for us. I do. I feel
Yeah,
like the wild aspect to him, and given he does give us something different in that sense because he is chaos. Whereas
yeah,
João Pedro is probably a bit more controlled, isn't he? A bit more
yeah.
silky kind of player. Whereas we've got Jota for stuff like that. So I think having the
Mm.
dynamic shift between a Jota and a Nunes is actually really good for us and gives us more options. So I'm happy with Nunes. Could be happier, should be happier because should be taking more chances. But ultimately, I think I think he's been pretty good. Maybe not the price tag good, but still, overall, I think he's been pretty good. Hopefully, though, like missing chances doesn't come back to hurt us. That's the main thing. Um,
Yeah,
and that's
that's
across the course
that's
of the
one of
season,
those
though.
games where that's one of those games as well where if they go on to draw that game and you've missed so many chances in the first half. I've been there before with Jackson many times last season where he was
Yeah,
getting in and missing those killer chances and then they come back to haunt you. What are your thoughts about Jones starting ahead of Szoboszlai?
good. I think it's worth it. I know I'm not Jones's biggest lover at times, probably one of his bigger critics, but I actually think under Slot he's been much better and very consistent. I think Sabozlai's underperformed. Sabozlai's been pretty well. He's been better than pretty. He's been good off the ball. His running stats, working hard for the team, positionally and stuff like that. Really good. And he makes some good off the ball runs as well. Again, opening up space. The problem's been on the ball. He's been pretty dire. His passing's been wayward. He's also had chances that he's not taken. So and then potential assists, obviously that plays into the passing. But these are the things that start adding up, and they were adding up each week. It felt like he just felt like he was in a bad run of form. So I think Slot decided to take him out and give Jones obviously that starting position instead because he put Jones in alongside. Was it alongside Sabozlai? Yeah, when McAllister missed a game, I think it was, and
Mhm.
then it was McAllister Sabozlai again, but again Sabozlai underperformed, so Jones got his chance, and I think he's taken it. I think he was really good again last night against Villa.
Mhm.
So he probably suits Slot more because one of the main complaints I have about Jones is how slow he can be on the ball at times, and obviously in a Klopp team it stands out a lot more because you're trying to be on the front foot, aggressive. Okay, let's be direct. Okay, we got a chance. Let's go, go, go. Whereas with Jones, it was like one touch, two touch, three touch. Then he'll play the pass, and you'll be like, that pass could have been done straight away, or after two touches. Whereas with Slot, he wants you to have the ball more, be composed, and choose your timing more efficiently when you do go forward and try to break in numbers. So he's probably benefiting from playing in a Slot team, I would say. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, props to him, man. He proving me wrong, so I mean it's probably not hard to do, but proving me wrong, and I'm happy. I'm not going to complain with that. What do you think of him so far?
You, yeah, I mean, look, he's like you say, I think you probably summarised it pretty well there in regards to that's why he didn't foresee fitting in the Klopp system, and his running stats is super impressive. And I think he was the one who came out, didn't he, in the pre-season and kind of not not slated slot at all, Klopp at all, but he kind of said that this suits him more, and he's responding well to the training. So, yeah, I feel like that style of play suits him.
Yeah, 100%. That was taken a little bit out of context, wasn't it? When he was just giving an honest answer, just saying the styles of
Yeah, yeah,
football probably suit him a little bit more, and people took it like he was slagging off Klopp.
yeah.
That definitely was not the case. But then again, people do that all the time, don't they, with things? But yeah, let's talk as well about, I guess, a couple of talking points. Do you think Villa should have had a pen? Obviously, we've got the Watkins one with Canate. We've got the Connor Bradley one with, it might have been Paul Torres with the pull of the shirt in the box. And then at the end, which is never a penalty, it's not even worth discussing really. But again, Paul Torres with the Gravenberch, which led to the goal.
Yeah, I would say the Canate one's definitely a penalty. Like
You think it
he
is?
does. I think he takes him out. Like he doesn't get anywhere near the ball really. I think he takes it at the top of his thigh. I would probably say that could have easily been a penalty. The other two, no way, but that one I would say was a penalty.
See, I thought you got more chance to get in the shirt pull. I don't think the Canate one is, because I think essentially what's happened is Watkins tried to obviously take it on the outside of Canate, but Canate's been quicker than him, got his body in front, and as a result, the legs have clashed because of Watkins then being behind Canate essentially. So that's why I don't think it was a penalty, that one. Whereas the shirt pull, I mean, they talked on Match of the Day about the shirt pull one and said it was what do they call it? Sustained. I think that was the terminology they used. And I must admit that the more and more I kept seeing it when they were showing the replays, I was starting to think, fucking hell, this is going to be given. And all I could think was, what a stupid thing to do. Like, you don't need to do that. You really don't.
Yeah, they're the worst when you yeah, the shirt pulls. I'm a big fan of. I don't think Carvalho would have lasted as long as he did in the Chelsea team today, because he'd be getting pulled up left, right, and centre on those.
Yeah, I think he would have. But yeah, Bradley, I think it's just too risky, and I still think it would have been soft, don't get me wrong, but I felt like that was their best case. Best shout for a penalty. Bradley as well, he's going to be playing more now. Well, it depends with Trent. I don't know how long the hamstring is going to keep him out for, because obviously we've got the international break, so he possibly might be able to come back, but maybe Canate will play the next game. And then after that, it's City. Is it Southampton next? I can't remember off the top of my head. I think we might have Southampton then City. So maybe Bradley will just play the next game anyway, given that, why risk Trent if you don't have to, where you're in a game where you're favourites to win. And then, yeah, I think overall, solid performance. Kelleher, great again. Obviously, he had one little misjudgment, but didn't lead to anything, so got away with that. And yeah, solid. 5 points clear. And as a result, being 5 points clear, next topic, City losing to Brighton, which I couldn't believe my eyes, but I was very pleased. What did you think about
No,
the
I
game?
think it's maybe. I don't think it was. I was reading some statistics before the game, and saying that Bayern Munich was the only time that he'd lost 4 games in a row, and that's when they'd won the title. And I think that they weren't all Bundesliga games. Some of them were in the Champions League. But yeah, wow. And his comments after the game, maybe it's time to let somebody else have the Premier League trophy. Interesting.
Mind games.
Yeah, they're really up against it, aren't they? Now, and we talk a lot about probably City and their failures, but fair play to Brighton. Like, they are just an absolute machine every season, where you feel like they lose the manager or they lose their key players. They continue to improve, like, just absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, they really are. And to be fair, they've just stuck to their guns in terms of the type of manager they have brought in, the sort of style of play, players and stuff like that. It's been across the club ethos and philosophy. There's that word, yeah. But basically, it has been
Yeah,
that, and it's been a continuity, which has again helped in the scouting system of recruitment, bringing in the right players, losing top players. Well, top players they've developed into top players and sold on for good fees, and then still being able to replace them. Been insanely good, to be fair. I think the City game, highlighted highlighted City's frailties in terms of the players and personnel they're actually missing, because that second goal, I mean, it was straight through the heart, straight through the middle,
Yeah.
where Rodri and obviously the two centre halves, if they had a fit team, would be playing, and essentially, that's come from your injuries. That mounts up when you don't take chances in the game that they had to, go to get the second goal. They also had quite a few moments that were, like you get the chances where it's a pullback if they get that right, but it gets blocked and stuff like that. They had those moments, those nearly moments as well. And the longer that went on, the more you kept thinking, well, Brighton are just going to, step on, keep pushing for that equaliser. And then it came, and I think it was definitely because of the personnel they're missing. They had a
Well, I mean,
warning as well with that first goal. I mean, what, Van Hecker
yeah.
played the exact same pass to João Pedro like 3-4 minutes beforehand, and then they played the exact same pass to Matoma to get the equaliser.
Yeah. I mean, the midfield is the obvious point, isn't it? And Kovacic is really, really struggling in there. And unsurprisingly, he's just not a defensive midfielder. And Gundogan being out of the Prem and just throwing him back in at the deep end at that age just hasn't. I thought that was going to be a masterstroke signing, to be honest. And I think it would have been if they'd still had Rodri in the team. But yeah, they look really unbalanced and not in a good place at all.
No, they're really not. I completely agree with you though. If they had their fully fit team and squad, and you bring in Gundogan on for like the last 20 minutes of games and then a few rotations here and there, I think he probably would have still had a good impact. But as you said, having to start him and also playing him like alongside Kovacic, both of them aren't defensively minded. Both of them don't have legs. Well, Kovacic, he isn't that bad in that sense, but still he's not as defensively minded, so his positional sense isn't as good defensively. Yeah.
Yeah.
So then he gets caught out, and then you don't have legs with Gundogan in and around him. So it's looking pretty.
I think he might. He's a master at finding solutions, and I think it may probably be now Akanji's back fit. I think he probably drops him into defensive midfield and tries to shove it up somewhat. He's got to find a solution and quick. It might be. I imagine maybe Silva goes back in there with De Bruyne and Akanji, and they just try and firm it up. Maybe even pushes Foden back out to the left perhaps and sticks with Savinho on the right. But they're banging trouble, City. I know they usually have a blip, but then again at the start of the season, and they usually don't start well. But 5 points already proven. I mean, it's not a massive gap by any stretch of the imagination, and they've still got you boys to play, obviously. But it's a lot of work to be done.
Well, the next two games are Spurs and us, so
yeah,
obviously Spurs on paper you think, well, they should be winning, but City do struggle against Spurs, and even though they're at home to Spurs, they've a bit of a bogey team for them, and they're notoriously bad travellers to Anfield. I mean, if they drew with Spurs and then lost to us,
chances would be slightly higher than 7%.
I
maybe get to 8%.
I'll double it to 14. How about that? I'll double our chances. But no, I think the Brighton game did highlight their frailties. Kyle Walker as well, man. He is having a rough time. I don't think him and Guardiola fit either, from what I can tell.
No. Yeah.
And then the likes of Akanji and
Ake. They've had seasons where they've missed, obviously, they missed De Bruyne for big parts of the season last year. They missed Haaland for bits of the season last year, and they found solutions, but never have they had this where it's like 6, 7, 8 injuries across the team. Whereas, look at my own team last year and your team in years gone by, they've all suffered with that.
Yeah.
So interesting.
It is, and they're also, this was Pep's probably worst nightmare because he likes to have a small squad, doesn't he? Quite tight. And obviously these are the negatives, but like you said, over the years, they haven't suffered as badly as they are doing now. No. And they've got another problem as well of scoring goals, because Haaland obviously, started fantastically well. But if you look at the midfield to forward line, the next highest goal scorer is Kovacic with 3. Then it's De Bruyne on 1, and I can't remember if it was Doku or Foden or something like that on one, and the rest have zero. And it's like,
Yeah,
that is frightening for a City team as well. They still
yeah,
create
yeah.
chances, but yeah, they're just not taking them. So issues defensively, issues going forward, obviously compound to and
I think
equal
they
to a
thought
lack
as
of
well,
points.
like Grealish would have like a bounce back season, and he looked like he was well on his way to start doing that. And I actually think he's the key for Haaland scoring, a couple of goals a match as opposed to just the one. Is when he gets down the byline, he seems to play so much better with Grealish and Doku, obviously. But yeah, that injury's killed his season again. I don't think like Grealish is just missing so much football at the
Yeah, but have
moment.
you heard of? Well, have you heard the rumours about that? He's
Come on.
well, he's been called up to the England squad.
Oh yeah,
The
yeah, I
rumours
heard that.
are
Yeah.
that he's actually fully fit, but he's had a falling out with Pep. There's something going on behind the scenes. Apparently,
Interesting.
yeah. I watched a game last night with a City fan, a friend of mine, Sam, and he was saying that basically, um, yeah, Guardiola and uh, Grealish rumored to have had a falling out, and essentially, there's something going on behind the scenes that is being kept in the dark, but obviously there's a rift there. That's why he's not playing. Unhappy, apparently, with the fact that Nunes has been playing ahead of him on that left side, and then to
Mm.
compound that, England have called him up. So I mean,
I
they
mean, if he
wouldn't.
starts for England, that's red flag potential. They won't be keeping that under wraps anymore.
I know they England have sold Pep out a little bit there. That's for sure. There's another rumor Sam was telling me about that apparently De Bruyne is having issues. Had a falling out with a coaching staff member of the coaching staff there. So it's not a happy camp, which obviously gives the chasing pack a chance of winning the title and actually dethroning City.
Well, also like the uncertainty over his future as well, like to be his final season, and yeah, it's got all the hallmarks, hasn't it, of a bit of a crumble associated with it. Like you've been driving towards that performance for so long with such intensity.
Mm.
Your manager's leaving at the end of the season. You've got players there who've been offered like ridiculous sums to go to, in De Bruyne's case and Edison's case, to go to Saudi. You can see why maybe some of them are taking their eye off the ball. But, and the massive but is that they've won 6 out of the last 7 Premier League titles, and it's only 5 points.
Yeah, they can easily still claw it back for sure. I mean, you'd be foolish to write City off at this point. They just, yeah, they are notoriously slow starters, and like you said, Pep's a problem solver and has the trophies to back it up. So they could easily go on a run, and the whole outlook of the season can change. But it
Yeah,
does give you hope that with it all not being rosy, few injuries that they've picked up, and the fact that they are actually losing games and look more vulnerable, that maybe
yeah,
we do have a chance. We actually spoke about this a few weeks ago. We were saying even when they beat Southampton before they
they're
went on the
winning. Yeah,
run, we were saying, yeah, they look vulnerable though. They're giving up more chances
yeah,
than they usually do. If
yeah.
Adama Traore could finish,
Finish.
yeah, wasn't wearing like ice skates when he finally gets into the box, then he might be all right. The Fulham might have won that
They're
game.
looking up. If they had won that game, they'd be bloody third in the league. They're playing unreal at the moment, Fulham.
Yeah, I know, flying.
Harry Wilson,
Yeah,
ex-Liverpool legend.
yeah, legend, mate. Yeah, good player, solid player. Especially for that sort of level, I think. But
Yeah,
yeah, no, they are doing very well. But yeah, ultimately, I think City will obviously bounce back. I just they have left the door ajar though. There is a chance to win the league and someone to dethrone him for sure. Do you think Pep leaves at the end of the season? What's your gut feeling on that?
I think he does. I hope he does. I've been saying that for the past however many years, but yeah, I think his time is done. Let's hope. Like, what else could he possibly want or could achieve really
Yeah,
with Manchester City? Like he's stayed there longer than he has done obviously at any other club. Like he's built an amazing legacy. Like he's changed the game within the Premier League. He's won the treble with them. Like
yeah.
what else is there for him to do? I mean, he could get them out of the Championship when they get 60, 70 points deducted. I suppose he hasn't done that yet.
Yeah. Yeah, if he wants to stay around and linger and go to like Bristol City away and stuff like that, yeah, maybe. I can't see
I
it
would
with
just
Pep.
love to see that just on the basis of like you could play a bingo on how many players would actually stay in the championship of their squad.
God, not many. Do you reckon like
It would be interesting.
it would be? Do you reckon like the local lad Foden would stay and stuff?
Yeah, I guess it's kind of like Juventus, Serie B,
Mm.
El Piero kind of stayed, didn't he? Buffon stayed.
They kept
I
it
guess
load, yeah.
different times there. But yeah,
Yeah.
it would be hilarious to see which ones stay and which ones go.
Yeah, it definitely would be like a social experiment. But
Yeah,
yeah. Well, maybe this is the time for him to leave. Or say if Liverpool do win the league, or Arsenal come make a mighty comeback and win it, which I can't see. Say if someone else won the league, maybe he will see that as a gauntlet, like a challenge. Being laid, a gauntlet being laid down. He's got to come back, finish strong, and then leave. But who knows? I mean, the psyche of Guardiola. Well, we certainly don't know because we don't know the guy. But yeah, let's hope he does fuck off. That would be nice. Anyway, mentioned Arsenal. I still do not believe they have any chance of winning the league, especially after last week and now after this week. But obviously, played you lot tonight. You helped us out. Nice
yep.
draw. So appreciate that, mate.
Yeah, yeah, well, appreciate you beating Villa as well.
Oh, boy, that's what we do. Gifts to each other. But yeah, how did you see the game?
How did I see the game? Yeah, consistent theme. Feel like it's an echo in this room around Robert Sanchez. Again, gifting. Well, not gifting them a goal, but certainly should done better for that one that we conceded. I think the draw was again similar to the Man United game. Fair result. I don't think we did enough in the attacking third, and certainly not enough in the defensive third to warrant a win. If we maybe start from the front, I thought that Jackson was poor again. It's probably his one of his weakest outings, certainly this season. Didn't hold the ball up well, and outside of that, his movement was really poor. I am majorly concerned with him that he just does not get across the front of the box, and like when the ball goes wide, he has no perception of where the ball is going to actually go. And for somebody who's strong in the air and absolutely massive, and got a great leap on him, like his presence in the box is awful because his decision making is so weak. So that's going to be a consistent problem for him. And I think maybe Nkunku comes in against Leicester, and if he scores a couple of goals, maybe he keeps his shirt. I thought the Neto was good for large parts of the half. Second half, he was weak in the first 20 minutes, then went out to his natural position on the right, looked 10 times as good. I thought Madueke was better, certainly good from a defensive standpoint as well, and did his job, and then faded in the second half. Lavia and Caicedo look like they've got a good balance between the two. Caicedo probably another 9 out of 10 performance from him, and then across the back, similar themes to what we've said all the way through this season so far. Like Colwell and Fofana just look like they're going to make an error. Fofana was a little bit better than Colwell today. Colwell was just so many
He's all
rash
over the
passes that
places.
he
All
gave
over the
away. It
place.
was just position, and yeah, it was. I don't know how you saw it with Colwell, but I thought you had a bad game.
Yeah, I'd agree. I actually said about those two last week that I think that you could see some signs that you could get something decent out of them, and if you replace Sanchez to give him some solidity, and then yeah, Colwell put a performance like that in today. I was watching, thinking, bloody hell, man, he is a bit of a liability at times. Like you were saying, his passing, his positional play was just essentially gifting Arsenal chances, which they didn't ultimately take at the end of the day. But still, he needs to sort that out of his game, and it doesn't help probably that Fofana next to him is very rash and aggressive on the front foot, which is all well and good if you're winning the ball, but obviously if you're not, then you've got issues. But he did play a bit better, and then Sanchez, like you said, man, for that goal, his positional sense of leaving too much of a gap at the near post. And any keeper gets beat at your near post, everyone says obviously you should do better, but he really did
There's no one
gift that
near
to
it.
Martinelli.
Yeah, he was nowhere. It's nowhere near it. Martinelli's not even that good a finisher, or hasn't been certainly for the past year and a half. And he just gifted him. Like, it was
Hmm.
awful goalkeeping. And back onto Colwell. Like, Colwell's distribution, where he's strongest, is in the edge of our kind of defensive third, is going into that second third territory in terms of his like sweeping balls. He can play them with his left and his right, but what he's not good at is receiving the ball side on in his box.
Mm.
He slices it clear. Like, he's. I'd love to see his pass percentage from inside his own box, because it can't be great. I mean, we gave up that chance in the first half. How they didn't score, I don't know. But you can't be doing that as a centre half. You can't be gifting them up those opportunities. And then when he was going to win balls, he was all over the place today. He never came through it and looked like he won anything with any sort of confidence.
Hmm.
But Kukurea was
Oh yeah, he was
excellent.
really good.
Did a really good job against Saka. Definitely man of the match. Um, I think he got beat once by Saka.
Hmm.
Was out to him, as Gary Neville said, really, really quickly. Thought Gusto was decent as well. But James was awful when he came on. I think he nearly gave them like three golden opportunities, which is strange for him, and a strange decision for him to drop his captain. But I think it was the right one. It worked. It worked well.
Yeah, it looked like the right choice, didn't it, when he came on and struggled essentially. Maybe it would have
Yeah,
been different if he started the game, but I thought
we
Gusto
started the
was
game.
pretty good. And
Yeah,
Kukurea, yeah, man, he was definitely man of the match because every time he was so aggressive with Saka, not giving him any sort of inch. And I thought he was
yeah,
fantastic. He was just on him every time. He was able to win the ball, even shuffle him inside into someone else to come over and help. He just didn't give him a sniff, really. So, to be fair,
yeah.
probably the best I've seen Kukurea play. And
Yeah, yeah.
I
He's
think he's
been
been pretty
like this
good,
this
but
season. He's been awesome. Yeah,
yeah,
towards the back end of last year, he was good as well.
yeah, when I say that, I don't mean it to be like he's been terrible. I mean he has been good, but like this was like another level. Like, yeah, really good.
Yeah,
Um, and then to be fair, yeah, I think like you said, Caicedo and Lavia look like they could definitely forge a good partnership there. And I think Enzo's definitely going to be frozen out for a little bit. Be hard for him to win his
I,
shirt back. I
well,
mean,
I, I think maybe Lavia in those games he'll trust him to play when you're playing up against a more attacking side like them, or United with the quality that they've got. But I think maybe Fernandes Lorenzo starts against Leicester because he can just progress the play a little bit quicker, and he's
mm,
more creative in there. Like, that's the thing that Lavia doesn't really have in him, is that sweeping ball, or that want to play at one touch, etc., and get us moving forward more quickly. So I think there's still a sniff for Enzo to come back in, and he has played well in the sub appearances that he has had. He certainly doesn't look totally despondent with it. He's still given everything. So maybe he does get his place back in the side. And Lavia came off again with what looked like another groin injury. So I guess it depends on how serious that is.
yeah, yeah. But do you not feel like Enzo's been pretty poor when he actually starts games?
Yeah,
I
yeah, he has. He
that's why
has.
I think it's Lavia's to lose now. And like you said,
Mm,
obviously rotation can play a part depending on teams you play, but I haven't seen anything from Enzo that would make me think that I could trust him to be a starter. He can prove me wrong, obviously. Like you said, you watch Chelsea way more than me, so sub appearances, if he has been coming on and impressing, obviously he was all right today. Technically got the assist for Neto, but like I just feel as if Lavia and Caicedo forging a partnership obviously is very good to have that sort of partnership in the middle of a park.
yeah,
I would just
yeah.
be
It's just. I, Look, I think Enzo is a bit of an enigma. I've watched him for nearly 2 years, and I still don't know quite what type of player he is, and it's going to take some work for Maresca to work that out as well. I think
mm,
that he's got to come in and dominate when he does get the shirt. And by domination, it's winning more balls in midfield, making more progressive passes that actually actually stick and also closing up the gaps in midfield because every time that's why Lavia is fundamentally playing. And we have looked way more solid in midfield. Like we weren't getting cut open today. It didn't feel like, Odegaard. I mean, he got that opportunity and they scored from it in terms of him around the edge of the box. But that was the only time that he did in the
Yeah.
whole game. We marked him out the game, and that's because of the way in which Lavia and Caicedo closed those spaces up in midfield. So if Lavia can add a bit more progression, a bit stronger pass into his game, then he probably does hold that spot, and Enzo gets frozen out a little bit.
Yeah. Well, it'll be interesting to see how it develops. That's for sure. What do you think? What do you think about Arsenal then?
Yeah, I mean, with Arsenal, it is just a question of getting Odegaard in the game more often, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you can work out a way to stifle him, you're not kill them stone dead, but you do stifle probably 80-85% of their opportunities. And the thing is with Martinelli, as we were discussing very briefly before, like I know he scored today, but he doesn't score anywhere near enough goals, right?
No.
That's their challenge. And Havertz, you can, as we were discussing last week, you can bully him out of the game, and then he doesn't give you anything in regards to holding up play or sticking in there. And then if Saka doesn't score, then where are the goals coming from
Yeah.
their perspective? I
Then
think
it's set pieces, isn't it?
that's their biggest challenge. Yeah, set pieces, and they are, don't get me wrong, they are defensively solid, but it's not like they have those two wingers those two fullbacks in Timber and Ben White. They don't really offer a great deal going forward. I
No.
know Timber had a little bit of a pot shot today, but he doesn't go wide beyond the wing back and get the ball in.
No. 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 Like you said, they're set up to be defensively solid. Um,
Yeah,
they're not looking for really their fullbacks to act like wing backs, overlapping runs and stuff like that. It's more supportive
yeah,
roles, which at the end of the day they have been successful with. Obviously, like last
yeah, yeah,
year in terms of league positioning and stuff like that. But then when your forward players aren't chipping in as much with goals and stuff, obviously then it starts highlighting it because you start looking to other areas of the team, like you said. Odegaard, massive miss. Obviously now he's back already. See that even like you said, you did do really well against him. When he still had that opportunity, he was able to create a goal scoring opportunity. So obviously
yeah.
key to any team. So yeah, obviously we're going to struggle with him. However, I said last week they were done with the title race. I think this point, I mean, even if they won, I still would have said they were done in the title. And now I still think they're done in the title. What was it, 9 points they're behind us?
Yeah,
So
9 points.
are you
Maybe
still
like,
you still got them in there?
I mean, it depends, doesn't it, as to whether. I mean, Paul Mason's right. What he was saying at the end, like if it goes from 9, if they take it from 9 to 6, they're still in and around it. Like 6 points can be flipped like that in 2 weekends, but if it goes to 12, it's over for them.
Yeah.
So it just depends how long they can keep it at that 9 and potentially reverse that to 6. Like I would ask that question again if they win the next Premier League game and then you and City play, and something happens there, and they pick up 3 points, then it soon goes to 6, and then you're saying that they're back in it.
Mm.
I would say looking at that performance today versus the Arsenal teams that I've seen over the past 2 years come to Stamford Bridge, I wouldn't say they're anywhere near at the same level as what they've been at.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd agree. It never really felt like they took the game to you or looked like they were really in the ascendancy to
No,
go on and get the win. They just,
yeah,
I don't know, the game felt like it was just going through the motions at times to me, watching it as a neutral. Um, a lot of
it didn't at the
opportunities that
end of
didn't
the
really
night, didn't it?
materialise. Yeah, I know, when they had the chance. But I reckon Saliba was offside. We'll never, have the lines out, but I think he was offside. I mean, Trossard should be scoring anyway to at least bring out the lines, but missing a chance like that, man.
Yeah, Havertz in the 96th minute wouldn't have gone down well.
Oh, it was Trossard.
Yeah, it was Trossard, but if he'd left it, then
Oh,
Havertz
right,
got a
yeah, yeah.
tap in.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, I saw
yeah,
Havertz having a go at him.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would not have gone down well. But, we'll never know. We'll never know. More drop points, though, essentially for them. So I write them off.
Yeah. So, looking of going down, Ipswich out of the relegation zone.
I know.
Up his top tip.
His top tips at the start of the season, and now look at him. Ipswich flying high with their first win in the season, but out of the drop zone, like you said.
I wouldn't say flying high. They're still well in it, but yeah, a good result for them. Palace losing again, man. That's wild how badly they're doing.
Yeah, I know. I thought they would have a really good season after the way Glasner finished last season very strongly. I assumed that Palace would actually be very comfortable mid-table, pushing top half. Probably where Bournemouth are right now. I think Bournemouth are like 11th. So I assumed that would be where Palace were, but obviously wrong, completely wrong. It looks like they're struggling after the sales of key players, not being able to replace them correctly. And they're obviously in a dogfight now. Things can change obviously pretty quickly. But I think Ipswich did very well. Mate, how Spursy is that? I mean, to gift, not gift, but to lose at home to the team who hasn't won all season yet. It's just, and they got booed coming off.
Well, it's crazy, right? Because if they win that game, they're third in the league with the goal difference.
Yeah, that's how much
They
it's
go
going to
to
change.
third,
Yeah,
and now they're sat languishing in 10th. It doesn't mean masses at this stage of the season, but yeah, it's a proper bottle job, that, isn't it?
yeah, it really is. Do you think Ange is under pressure?
I think, it
This
feels like
league's
all
so
Spurs
close.
managers are always under pressure, right? Because they're just expectant to be in that top four and turn things around with the players that they've got and the money that they've spent. To be fair,
Yeah,
I think they do. I think they do stick with him through to the end of the season. But I mean, look, if they didn't finish or again this season, which is looking unlikely. Yeah, you would have to say that he's under pressure, especially if he doesn't come home with a trophy.
I know, and he always wins a trophy in his second season. His own words. So he put pressure on himself. That's what?
Yeah, that's what we do, mate.
That's what we do, mate. Yeah, he's decided to put his pressure on himself. So yeah, he's got to deliver there. With the table being so close, as we've spoken about, it could change. I mean, 2 weeks, obviously after the international break, but 2 weeks, 3 weeks time, they could be sat in third. Everything will look rosy.
Yeah,
People forget about the Ipswich result. But it was
yeah, exactly.
still a disappointing day for them. And I think, obviously, Wolves got their first win. We've spoken a lot about Gary O'Neill. So
Yeah, needed, badly
man.
needed.
I tell you what, though, I felt sorry for Southampton in that game a little bit. Their goal that was ruled out by VAR, I don't think was a foul.
No, that was hard.
The second goal for Wolves, I think one of the two is a foul.
Yep.
How VAR's not given that, I'll never know. And I guess that's just your luck when you're at the bottom, isn't it? When things are against you, it just feels like everything's against you.
Yeah, they're gonna. I mean, Southampton are gonna struggle to get. You would say they're going to struggle to get plus 20 points, plus 22. It's going to be a Burnley-esque season, I think, for them, isn't it?
Yeah, I feel the same. I'm still writing them off.
They do. And I think Everton and Leicester could soon slip back into it, for sure.
Yeah, I think so. Especially Leicester, because they leak goals for fun. Everton might be all right just for the simple fact of Dyche will, they're harder to break down than the likes of Leicester and Southampton and Ipswich. And also the fact that they're pretty lucky that there's teams below them who are probably worse, even though Everton aren't great. And yeah, it gives Everton the opportunity to stay up. But it's pretty bleak, man. It's pretty bleak for Everton just to keep going through seasons like that, I guess. It's great for me being a Liverpool fan to see him languishing down there, but I heard one of their fans talking about how they should be in sixth position with the team they have and the squad. It was a TalkSport thing, and I thought this person must see football very differently to me, because that squad is pretty dire.
Yeah, they're awful, aren't they? Particularly up front, like they've got nothing.
Yeah, they literally have nothing.
I heard the best one was on TalkSport was a West Ham fan saying they wish he'd rather be at work than watch that game.
Yeah, I seen that as well. God,
Drab affair. That.
it's really not happening for Lopetegui yet. It just
I think he'll get time though. I think he'll get time to turn it around. He'll probably, but they'll do well to finish top half.
Agreed. I think with this caliber of manager you have there in Lopetegui, I think you should definitely give him time to try and get it working, get a bit of momentum and stuff like that. You got to trust on, like I said, his past successes that he can get it right, and there's no point in firing him right now because you're not going to go down. West Ham shouldn't be going down with that team, surely. So give him time, get it right. Hopefully for the West Ham, they'll improve a bit. But yeah, I mean, saying you'd rather go to work than watch that is pretty damning.
Probably.
Yeah, probably fair. But yeah, good place to leave it. I don't think there's anything else to cover. I don't think there's anything glaring that we've missed.
No, probably, but we'll move on and we'll try and cover it next week.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, if you are watching this on YouTube, give it a like, subscribe, comment with your thoughts, topics we've covered today, and if you're listening to on Spotify, share it with friends, help get the podcast out there. We'd appreciate it. And if you're listening in from Scotland, Ollie absolutely loves Celtic and Rangers. They would be in his top three.
bit of hatred this week online. Just to clarify, I did say Premier League atmospheres, not UK atmospheres. That was the context for the conversation. So for the 62 Celtic and Rangers fans that have commented on the TikTok video about atmospheres, we were strictly speaking about the Premier League. As per this podcast, it's about the Premier League, not about small teams in Scotland.
Oh my God. Shots fired.
I'm just kidding, guys. I'm just kidding.
So you literally had your PR statement nice and clean until the end where you had to get a little dig in. Hey, to be fair, this is the opinions of Oliver and not another football podcast.
Yes, as you made clear on your comments when you've gone back. Saying,
I defended you. Yeah, well, I defended you. I stood up for my friend who had an old slip of the tongue by saying UK instead of Premier League. It happens to the best of us, and I was defending you.
I'll wait till you get outed.
I probably will. It won't be long. No one likes opinions on football. It's very tribal, as we've seen with the Scottish fans. But yeah, it was a good crack, and I will be clipping up that part of your apology and your dig. So that'll be good to see how they react to that as well. But yeah, like I said, good place to leave it. We'll be back next week to chat some more football. And until then, oh no, actually, it's international break.
National break.
Oh, we'll probably have a break ourselves. Needs must, after all this recording. So yeah, anyway, we'll be back in a couple of weeks then to talk more football. Have a good one, guys. See ya.
Good one. Always makes me laugh.
Oh, what else?